Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here and also an honor to be the moderator of the most exciting part of today from my perspective, which is the live panel with distinguished scientists. To highlight the members of the panel, I would ask if you could please hide your videos so we could very clearly see who are the panelists today. So that would be great if you could do that. I will first introduce all the panelists. The topic of the panel is Europe needs a full-fledged and ambitious AI strategy. And we don't have a lot of time. We have 20 minutes. So I will ask one question to each panelist to see if we can answer it they can answer it in 2 minutes. And then I will give each panelist the chance to make a 1-minute statement, hopefully as inspirational as all the former statements that we have already heard. So who are our panelists today? We are honored to have Martin Stratman, President of the Max Planck Society. Martin, if you could maybe wave. We have Thomas Hensinger, the President of IST Austria. We have Vladimir Maric, the Scientific Director of the Czech Institute of Informatics, Robotics, and Cybernetics at the Czech Technical University. We have Ana Berenguer. She's Director General on Public Policy for the President of the Valencian region in Spain. I don't see Ana, but hopefully she's there. Yes. Martin Zachariasen, Vice Chancellor of the IT University of Copenhagen. And last but not least, Bert Engler, Rector at Tubingen University. So welcome all of you, and let's just have an exciting and hopefully lively discussion. So I will start with a question for Martin. What, in your view, are the most promising measures that you have seen at the European or at the national level to strengthen Europe's position in AI on a global scale?
Yeah, first of all, warm welcome to everybody from Munich, from the headquarters of the Max Planck Society. Now concerning your question, I think first of all, I think we have realized in Europe the importance of AI in many fields we are interested in. I think second, we have seen many national activities to strengthen the field of AI. In Germany, among others, this is the Cyber Valley in Stuttgart and Tubingen, with the Max Planck Institute for Intelligent Systems in its center. And last but not least, I think we're now starting to combine all these local centers of excellence, and the means how to do so is, to me, the ELLIS initiative. Now, the question also, which you asked me, is what is the strength of Europe in this field? And I would like to mention two points. First of all, in Europe, we can combine the cyber world with the world of machines. I think the field of machines where Europe and in particular also Germany has an enormous strength. The outcome of all of this may be cognitive robotics. And this has a twofold impact to me. Robots as a data input for better functioning machine learning systems, and cognitive robots also as in highly intelligent and superior machines in very many applications. I think that's the strength of Europe, which allows us to show up worldwide. And second, I feel ethics in the world of AI. I think that may sound strange a bit in the beginning, but it's obvious to me that artificial intelligence in the end will only survive if we as humans trust the system. And I think Europe is special here, and European-based artificial intelligence may, hopefully at least, set standards for future AI software. Made in Europe, I think, could prove also be a signature of trust. And last but not least, I think we all know that data are essential for AI. In Germany, we have established the national data infrastructure, the NFDI. We have the European Science Cloud, and both of this may provide an ideal tool to put together highly trustful data, as for example, also the Danish Biodata Bank, as an input for modern AI research.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this sort of like overall view on the role of Europe. And maybe if we go a little bit narrower towards ELLIS, I'm wondering if, Thomas, you could share with us your views on what role do you see that ELLIS can play in this broader context of the role that Europe is playing on AI globally?
Okay, thank you. Let me, since I didn't get a chance to also say welcome and thank you from Kloster Neuburg from ISD Austria, let me also say this, and that we are proud to be part of this network. I mean, it's high time that Europe gets its act together in modern AI. I mean, one only has to look at the 100 most valuable companies in North America versus the 100 most valuable companies in Europe, and the situation is dramatic. Now, Bernhard, I think, said it very well at the beginning. You know, what are the main missions here of the network? Number one, basic outstanding research, and number two, attracting talent from all over the world, especially PhD students. These happen to be also actually the two principles on which our institution, ISD Austria, was founded some 10 years ago. So we think we fit in here very well, and we can contribute and hope to contribute as much as we can. We also hope to gain, of course, on the other hand, from the network in visibility to be able to grow even further and attract more talent and become a bigger presence. What do I expect from the network? What you said is, of course, this increased visibility, this joining forces. I think also very important to lobby national governments, Europe. I think there's a big deficit in Europe that not only AI, but computer science in general is much underrepresented in the sort of scientific lobbying effort and scientific advisory boards of politicians and other policymakers. And I think this is a very important, can become a very important part of this network. And what I also hope is that we don't make sort of the old European mistake of creating distributed centers, which are rigid in their rules, but weak in their execution because they are distributed. I think we need exactly the opposite approach. We need to build on, and you have taken this approach, we need to build on existing strengths and institutions, and put them together and make them even stronger by enabling them. And that's what I want to say is a little bit my worry is that you put too many rules on partners, because we, for example, as in my own institution, we have our own PhD program, and then mixing this with another PhD program, this is where bureaucracy kicks in. So I hope we can gain visibility, but maintaining our identity. And I think the same goes for all the institutions here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think there is always this tension between how to leverage a critical mass and how to have a certain coherence across all these different units, but at the same time appreciating the diversity and the peculiarities, you know, and the context of each of them. So connecting with this, Vladimir, it would be great to hear your reflections on what you think are ELLIS strengths, but also weaknesses, maybe which areas of ELLIS we should work on or strengthen more so ELLIS can really realize its mission and its vision.
Good morning to everybody from Prague, from the Czech Institute of Informatics, Robotics and Cybernetics. We are quite a young institute with 7 years history, so we are very proud that we can host one of the ELLIS sites. And since the very beginning of existence of our institute, we try to combine excellence in research with industrial applications, with applications in healthcare service, because we feel applicability of results is quite important to motivate young people, to bring them on board, to activate the talent. So we are building an AI ecosystem where machine learning, excellent machine learning teams are playing a very important role, but they are in tight cooperation with industry, with industrial understanding the industrial needs. So I think connection between theoretical results, excellent results with excellent application brings a new dimension to ELLIS. The other task which I would like to stress in my presentation is the fact that in the neighboring countries, we are the only ELLIS site in the former Eastern countries. But in neighboring countries, there are also a lot of talented people, and we feel it's important to include them, and we would like to disseminate our experience with ELLIS to such countries like Slovakia, Hungary, Poland, to bring them on board and to help to leverage the talent in these countries for the needs of the Europe as a whole. So this is quite important task for us as well. Thank you very much.
It is, yeah, quite a big task, but yeah, it makes sense. We're going to move on now to Anna, and we've talked. Professor Martin Stratman has mentioned some of the strengths in Europe regarding AI. We have data, we have the opportunity in robotics, we have ethics, and the ethical approach to AI. But in this context, which initiatives do you think are missing in Europe and you think would be important to strengthen so we can actually be competitive on AI?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Nuria, and thank you to my fellow panelists. So, Nuria, the more I thought yesterday about how to answer your question, actually, I realized that it raised some key questions on my end that I would like to pose to you, to everyone joining the launch of ELLIS today. Because, 1 year ago, all of us, we were thinking about the fourth industrial revolution, whether AI will replace jobs. We were talking about the future of work, which it was at the center of the debate, whether, and actually ELLIS was founded in this context, correct? Yet, earlier this year in March, Europe was taken by the COVID wave. And now our way of living and everything we do as policymakers, scientists, parents, and friends is through the lenses of the COVID. So, the reality is that citizens and organizations all over Europe have proven already that they're flexible, that they can adapt to the shock. We telework more, we collaborate more. The debate has changed entirely. So I want to pose a question to my fellow panelists and everyone, which is, has the debate around AI changed as well? First, to what extent ELLIS can put AI at the service of humankind, and to what extent the COVID crisis will give a new purpose to AI? Can AI be less about the future of work and replacing jobs, and more about saving lives and helping decision makers, doctors? And so in my opinion, to the extent that us scientists, policymakers can ensure that AI will have a positive impact, to the extent that we can build a narrative around this and act on it, is that I think ELLIS will drive Europe to outtake, if you wish, in this area to the United States. And then, of course, is the question of the barriers of growth. So what needs to happen? What kind of cultural shift and system change needs to be implemented to let research on AI accelerate growth and social well-being in the COVID crisis? So if there is something that is hindering that progress, so let's identify it. And we also need to revisit our conventional thinking around it, probably.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really great that you actually bring COVID-19 to the conversation, because of course, we're all here remotely because of COVID-19. So given the impact that it's having is true on our societies, I wonder perhaps if Martin, if you want to reflect or elaborate further, what are your views on potential maybe changes or new directions or not of ELLIS, or even the broader context of AI in Europe after the COVID-19 pandemic, or during the COVID-19 pandemic?
So was it me?
Yes, Martin.
Yes,
Yeah,
hello.
Martin. Sorry, Martin Zachariasen. Sorry,
Yes,
so
yes.
there's two Martins.
Yeah, hello and good morning from Copenhagen. I just to say that the three universities in Copenhagen are also very proud to be part of this initiative. So welcome to Copenhagen. So you asked about how COVID and other, I mean, how various agendas, you can say, affect research or focus on artificial intelligence. And let me just mention that about 1.5 years ago or 2 years ago in Denmark, we had a government that was very, very focused on artificial intelligence. We got a new strategy and so on. Then we had a change in government, and the focus is now much more on climate. And now, early this year, of course, the focus has become COVID-19. Clearly, artificial intelligence and information technology in general can play an important role in helping both solving, we can say, the climate crisis, but also with regard to COVID-19, we have seen that already. Whether AI exactly which role it can play, we'll see in the future. But if you look at the challenges, you can say, for pushing AI forward in Europe, if you take that, that is to keep the long-term political momentum, you can say, because it seems that at least in Denmark that the momentum was much more focused about 2 years ago on this, and it has flattened a little bit. And it's really important that we continue to make investments. Local governments, member states make investments in AI, all the way from teaching young children about new technologies, all the way to educating more researchers. That is the main challenge, at least in Denmark, from my point of view, to educate more researchers in AI, and also to keep the best ones in Denmark and keep the best ones in Europe. So that's, to me, the biggest challenge. Yes.
Thank you. So we have the challenge of talent, right, and the education, understood at a broader sense. Yeah. And last but not least, we have Bert, the rector of the University of Tubingen. So having heard all the statements and contributions from all the panelists, I'm wondering if there is any new, maybe a strength for Europe or weakness that you would like to add to the discussion.
Well, I think that most of the statements kind of covered the field, but I want to first of all say how delighted I am to be part of this conference, and also how delighted I am that some of the key drivers of ELLIS are also part of the Tubingen ecosystem. Max Planck Institute for Intelligent Systems, the university, etc. I think Tom Herzinger kind of pointed out that we have to move fast. Yeah. And I think so far we have been a little slow in comparison to other countries. We have to move faster, and what is more important, we have to move in a concerted, well-orchestrated fashion. And I think ELLIS is the right kind of tool to orchestrate the European move forward. I also want to point out that indeed, I think the lobbying within science has been perfect in the last couple of years. Max Planck Society in Germany, for instance, has helped to push this agenda. But what is still lacking is the conviction that in politics with politicians, that they have to kind of contribute their share to make Europe a strong hold of a new type of artificial intelligence, which is contrary to the Chinese way or to the American way. Yeah. And I think that is where we have to place our own kind of endeavors. And in this sense, I think lobbying in politics will still be more demanding than we have seen so far. I think we have to bring national initiatives together, and I think we should also move faster ahead towards Europe, the European Council, and make our statements that Europe will have to move ahead faster if it doesn't want to lose ground as it has lost in recent years.
Yeah, very good points. Very good. A few of you have mentioned the political dimension, and I have to say, Anna is a politician, so you can talk to her later. And in all the videos that we did have a video from a politician, which is the president of the Valencian region. So I think it could be maybe an inspiration to other politicians in other regions, you know, to see that level of involvement. We are running out of time, but I don't want to close the panel without giving you a chance, each of you, to make a 60-second final statement on your views about ELLIS and the opportunities, you know, that it offers. So I propose that we follow the same order that we've had, starting with Martin Stratman, president of the Max Planck Society. So if you could kindly, just in 60 seconds, wrap up the discussion with your main, you know, points that you would like to make, that would be great. I think you're muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Now.
Oh yeah, okay. I maybe even shorter. I fully support the further development of the ELLIS program. I see the program as a real chance for AI-based research in Europe. And as we have heard before, it's just the right time to do so today. I also have to say, if we miss this chance, we may also miss a unique chance. And as a result, we may not find ourselves in the first row of AI-based research worldwide. So we really have to hurry up, we really have to concentrate, and we really have to move on, and the Max Planck Society will do so.
Thank you. So move on to Thomas Henzinger, president of IST Austria. Hold on, I think you're muted.
Okay.
Now.
Thank you. Let me just make maybe one final point also. I hope this network can also sort of shed some clarity sort of in the more public mind on the various terminologies this is used, because AI is still a very confusing word to many. AI is sometimes everything and sometimes the wrong thing, namely very old-fashioned AI. So I think it's very important that this network stresses actually there are many areas of computer science that are critically important to this effort, that are not narrowly construed AI, from computer systems to statistics to security to distributed systems and so on. On the other hand, there is much AI, especially in Europe, I have to say, which is really old-fashioned AI, and it will not help us close this gap to the rest of the world. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me end, and good luck.
Thank you. Vladimir Maric, Scientific Director of the Czech Institute of Informatics, Robotics, and Cybernetics.
So ELLIS represents a really incredible opportunity for all of us to join the forces to create bigger teams, more efficient teams, which might be competitive in the worldwide scale. We need to compete with United States, with China, and Europe has a lot of resources which are working in a quite isolated way. We need to join the forces, and that's the main message for ELLIS. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna Wenger, Director General in the Valencian government. The
Yes.
politician in the room.
Yes, so I'm going to acknowledge that in my closing statement. So I think the dilemma we're facing around the positive impact of AI reminds me actually of another politician, Woodrow Wilson, who was the 28th president of the US, and who was a politician, but also an academic. And in 1887, he published a fantastic study about public administration and government. He described the difficulties of the job as follows: in government, as in virtue, the hardest of the hard things is to actually make progress. So he argues that progress is slow but necessary, and points out that the reason for the slowness is actually, one of the reasons at least, is that people who are sovereign have no single ear. In the sense that, you know, we cannot really approach all of them, and they are ignorant of what elites here as scientists, you scientists, are trying to achieve. So he says people are timid, stubborn, and selfish, and yet, you know, they are the ones who vote. So that is the challenge at hand. Ensure that everyone understands AI, and not only that, is that what means for them, and embrace AI. In the Valencia region, at least, represented by President Chimo Puig, who you just heard before, and represented also in the figure of his regional ministry for innovation, Carolina Pascual. So they envision an AI as an economic and social development tool for the region's prosperity and quality of life. Last year, we drafted a strategy on AI that makes it very clear, and we approach it holistically. That's why the government is taking steps to make sure that the adoption of AI is actually inclusive, brings benefits to everyone, making sure that nobody is left behind. And in that sense, education is key. Preparing our children at elementary school for sure, but also our workers for the transition into the fourth industrial revolution.
Thank you, Anna. So education, again, one of the key pillars. Martin Saharassian, Vice Chancellor of the IT University of Copenhagen. 1 minute, please, because we're over time.
Yeah, so my hope for ELLIS is that we can create a movement in Europe. So we will make the right, can say, political and decisions on where to go with AI in Europe, maybe compared to the US and China. Developing what is called responsible AI, even though it's not quite clear what it is, but it's an important target to have. And I hope ELLIS can help the politicians to make the right investments, both in education and research, and that can create value for everyone in Europe. So that's my hope.
Wonderful, thank you. And of course, last but not least, the closing statement for the panel by Bert Engler, the rector of the University of Tubingen, please.
I think that we all know that ELLIS is a fantastic tool, and we should not only get it off the ground, as we already have, but also make it fly and fly high. Why that? Because we have this tool to enlarge our own scientific excellence, to help our young scholars to find a unique ecosystem, and also to make sure that our potential contribution, responsible AI was a key word, can be made internationally visible. I think that is our goal. And if we can reach that and help to do that, then we are fine.
Wonderful. Well, I think this was quite of an inspiring panel, and I feel energized, and I feel the sense of urgency also, but the responsibility that we all have to try to make Europe competitive in the global AI ecosystem. So I would ask you to kindly clap to all our panelists and thank you then for all their time and contributions, please. Now we move on to the next part of the session. Thank you, everyone.